8:14 on this Monday morning. You're familiar with the term bait and switch.
That is when you, have a night crawler and then you switch out to a lure of some
Well,
type?
different kind of bait.
Okay.
I suppose that would work. You know what I was talking
Yes. Go ahead.
about. Well, so you were promised something or you feel like you were going to get one thing and then you show up or whatever.
Not
It's
that
something
thing
else.
at all.
Right. Maybe a show you were going to see was mischaracterized. I thought this was about this, and then it turned out to be that. Or I thought I was going to come in here to the store and get a great deal on this, but then the salesperson tried to sell me something else.
I thought the job that I just accepted was going to be this, and it turns out to be that.
Aha!
I am going to have to fix you.
What would you say you do here?
It's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care.
That's just a straight shooter with upper management written all over him.
Manage you to on a more personal scale, a more micro form of management.
Punch your time card. We are at the office, joined now by career coach and business consultant, president and managing partner at LAK Group in Brookfield, Mike Grubich. Hey, Mike.
Good morning. Hi, guys.
Hello.
So, fair to say, Mike, like rarely in life does anything turn out exactly as you thought. That's certainly true for the workplace. But how often do you hear people suggesting that the job that was posted that they're interviewing for perhaps is not exactly the job that it turns out to be?
Yeah, more and more now, especially with the younger generation recently out of college or coming out of college or who didn't go to school but are applying for jobs. We're hearing more and more that they apply for a job, they look online, they go through the process, they go in, get offered a job, show up on the first day, and it's not exactly what they talked about through the interview process.
Now, how much of that is on the business and how much of that is just the young newbie job seeker not
I thought
realizing,
this was going to be great.
Oh, I thought I was going to have a desk. Where's my laptop and my secretary?
It is absolutely a shared responsibility, right? You have to, if you're the one looking for the job, do your research. Not just in the company, find out about the job. Look, there's so much that you can access now to get data on companies or what have you. Find that out. But take that time. And you know what? I always tell people when you're going through an interview process, certainly the company's interviewing you and you want to prep for that. At the same time, you should be interviewing the company. You should always go with 4 to 5 questions at minimum to ask the company because you're interviewing them. You want to know, is this the place I want to go?
So I want to ask you a little bit more about that. But first, why would a company deliberately post something that's not exactly accurate? Like, I kind of feel I know the answer to that question is they want to get more applicants. They want good people. And what if the job they actually have is not attractive enough?
Yeah. What if the job's
make
not
some stuff up in there?
That's certainly it. And they figure many times it's, let's get the person in and then we'll get them involved in other things. And there may be some genuine reality to it, but there's situations where someone applies for a marketing specialist job. I know of a specific one, marketing specialist job. They went in, they got a job offer, they filled out all their paperwork, they showed up on the first day at orientation, and they were told they're going to be one of those people selling phones at Costco. That's not a marketing specialist job. So now the advice turns from, okay, now how do I quit on my first day without hurting my reputation
right.
versus, because you don't want to take it, but there's a lot of people that'll take it because they want the job.
Are there things that someone who's applying for a job that they might be able to divine in the interview process, Mike, if they get that far and you're sitting in the interview? Are there red flags, so to speak, that might occur when you're conducting your interview of the employer?
Ask what's the day in the life? What is an expectation of me? What does success look like? What does a typical day look like? What do you expect from me in that role? You'll get an understanding of what the real aspects of the job. Listen, no job is, I tell people all the time, there's no job is going to be 100% everything you love, right? There's going to be things that you got to do that you just don't like. That's part of it. But you should get a good sense if it's something that's a match for your skill or that you want to do.
So we go through a process here when we are onboarding someone, or before that when we're hiring someone, where they're interviewed by multiple people in different departments. And I've been part of that before. And one of the things that I always tell these folks when I meet them is, hey, I tell them what I, what I do, what our job is or all that stuff. But then I'll say, obviously you want this to be a marriage. I'm like, do you have any questions for me? Even if it's like, I'll always say like, quote unquote, off the record stuff. What can I tell? And I'll never like try to steer someone away from a job.
Right.
But I try to like at least get them to, because I figure that way you want a marriage that's going to work than someone be frustrated 2 or 3 weeks in.
Yeah, and Eric, I think that's a good practice. The full transparency is, and there's nothing that goes bad with full transparency. If someone walks away because of that, you probably didn't want them to work here, just like they didn't want to work here as well. So openness, transparency, get things out on the table, that nothing can go wrong with that.
I'm sure your advice to employers, Mike, also is, listen, don't do this, because people who've interviewed for jobs, you've found that they talk. They talked about it, and companies could get a reputation that's, oh, you don't want to apply here.
Yeah, well, and especially the younger generation now, they're looking everywhere. Whether the sites are always accurate or not, I don't know.
Oh, they'll post it on TikTok,
right?
How terrible this place was.
But
right?
people will put it out there now. So you got to be careful, because before you know it, you start to see, don't apply here, don't apply there. It's not what you think. And the reputation of that company goes down quick.
That goes both ways, though, too, because if you're starting to cement your record and your beliefs on every company online, that's going to scare companies away from you, too.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to be very balanced, because companies are looking at your social media as well. So
it says here you hate this place, that place, those places.
What do you like? Is there anything that you like?
Well, that actually is going to lead us into something else I want to ask you about after the break in terms of shared responsibility. Like, at some point you have to say, is everybody else, everywhere else crazy, or maybe is it you? And that applies to burnout in the job as well. We are at the office with Mike Grubich, career coach and local business consultant from our partners at LAK Group. Mike, we want to talk about worker burnout. Hearing this more and more often, seeing it on social media, I'm just burned out. And I know the older generations look at the 20-somethings who are saying they're burned out and say, well, you got a long way to go. But this is a real thing, and no matter which side you support, it's affecting companies and productivity.
It is, and I come from that generation. If my kids were here, 3 of my famous words are "suck it up." Right? That's
okay.
That's how I grew up. But the burnout thing is a real thing, right? And you could, and I think there's different levels of it. There's stuff that, we at LAK do a lot of coaching. We do a lot of wellness coaching. We can help with this and help people work through it at some level, but sometimes it gets deeper than that. So it's exhaustion. It's low productivity. You just feel run down in that sense, and it's real. And you just need to be able to talk through with people to get them to kind of reset, to first admit it, because the challenge is a lot of people just tell themselves, "I'll suck it up. It's going to be fine." And then you get managers who will look at someone and say, you got to be more resilient. You got to try harder. But people who are genuinely burnt out, they're trying hard. So that's not going to help in any way. So you got to get people to reset and kind of come to grips with what it is. Look at things that they can control. People get involved in things that they can't control. And how do you get out of that and only focus on what you control, and just learn to say no every once in a while and learn to reset your priorities a bit.
So let's piggyback off of that and look at it from I'm the employee perspective, and I'm feeling all of these things that you've described. Do I talk to the boss about that? Are there things that I do first before we take it upstairs?
Yeah, the first thing you do is look within, take it seriously. Get yourself comfortable with it, and then talk to someone. Talk to your boss. If you have an internal resource at the company, talk to that internal resource. Use an external resource. We provide that kind of coaching. It's a great opportunity to talk to someone outside and kind of reset yourself. Find someone that you can talk to, because then you can refocus your energy.
There's got to be some fear of like being scarlet lettered, though, right? That, oh well, man, this employee's complaining.
Here comes Billstead again. He's he's burned out.
Always burning out. We're asking you to do 2 things, buddy.
And that's why sometimes that external resource is better, right? Because you can let your guard down a little bit, where at work you might be guarded because you don't want to say something or come across as that you're complaining. But it is really important to talk. And the thing with burnout is it's real. It's not one of those things that I think you're going to get a scarlet letter on, because there's so much talk about it, and so many people see their coworkers or themselves in that situation that I feel it's a real thing that people don't don't blackball you for.
So how do you coach the mid-level manager who has Eric Bilstead coming to him or her and saying, look, I like it here. I'm trying hard, but I'm at my wit's end here. I'm burning out. What can you do for me, or how do we get through this?
Yeah, for the manager, we tell them just to ask lots of questions. Ask what and how type of questions. Take it seriously. Find out where that person really is, and if you don't feel that you're capable of handling it, ask for help. Companies have EAP programs that they can refer people to. Use that resource. It's a great resource. Use partners that the company works for, like an LAK, or someone else that the function might have internally. Find a resource to help you as a manager. Don't try to tackle it if you're not comfortable.
Mike Grubich, career coach and local business consultant from our partners at LAK Group. You can learn more about Mike, LAK, and everything they can do for your career at transformingcareers.com.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, Mike.
Take care.
7:27 on Wisconsin's Morning News. Bottom of the hour headlines from ABC next.